We are extremely excited to host you, our distinguished guests from abroad and from Israel here in Haifa. We must admit that given the uncertainty of the last couple of years and the pandemic, we were often afraid that we would not be able to hold this long-awaited conference face-to-face. Luckily, almost all our guests have managed to attend the conference in person, so we are really thrilled and are looking forward to this rare opportunity of meeting and conversing with you all in person and not through cameras and instruments of various kinds. With your permission, I would now turn to the pleasant duty of thanking the many people and organizations that helped us pull this conference together. We must thank, first and foremost, the Israeli Academy of Sciences and its Humanities and Social Sciences Fund in particular, which provided us with generous financial support. In fact, this conference would have not been possible without their help. Second, but certainly not in importance, is the Haifa Lab for Religious Studies and its head, Dr. Uriel Simonson. Where is it? It's there. Yeah. Which provided us not only with financial support, but also with institutional home, for which we are extremely grateful. Our thanks are also extended to the Herzog Center at Ben-Gurion University and to the Faculty of Law at the University of Haifa, which both offered generous funding and support. Finally, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to administrative staff at the University of Haifa, without whom this conference would have never become a reality. The amazing and multi-talented Lily Shore, who has literally been a lifesaver, Gila Zamir Dovrat, the administrator of the Haifa Lab for Religious Studies, Tehila, Alon, Marina, Eden, and Cher, who have all helped tremendously, each in her or his field of expertise. By the way, please feel free to direct any question, query, or request that you may have to Cher and Lily. We'll do our best to address any problem that you may have. So, after imparting these well-deserved words of gratitude, and before I move on to describe the conference plan and its schedule, let me say a few words about the topic under investigation here, namely the accommodation of religious law in modern states. This is, of course, a hot topic, not only among academics, but also among practitioners and policymakers. There are obviously many reasons for this blossoming of the discourse about religion, law, and the state, but it seems that a prominent one among them is the current widespread understanding that religions are here to stay. Contrary to the beliefs of many early secular thinkers, religions have not lost relevance in the modern world. In the present, as in the past, religions demonstrate remarkable adaptation and equally remarkable applicability to a myriad of civic, social, and political affairs. Moreover, religious establishments still control vast economic resources and exert far-reaching political influences, and religious calls to still mobilize the masses. Indeed, countless citizens of the modern global world still perceive religion as a prime source of meaning and purpose, and religion still serves as the backbone of communal identity and belonging for many contemporary communities. This being the case, we are now forced to acknowledge that we must find ways to accommodate various types of religious normativities into modern states. And this also holds true for countries where the state is ostensibly separated from religion. It is hardly surprising, therefore, that much public and academic attention has been directed to this issue, and that various institutional arrangements aimed at accommodating religious law within sub-state, state, or supra-state frameworks have been the subject of extensive and lively debate. This is especially true with regard to family law, a highly sensitive sphere which most religions hold to be particularly important and are eager to influence and control. Consequently, it is in this field of family law that we usually see clashes, dilemmas, and open contradiction between religious prescripts and universal principles of human rights and human rights. It is therefore the accommodation of family law into modern states, but attracts most academic and public attention. And yet, for various reasons, this field of research is currently characterized by disciplinary, thematic, and geographical compartmentalization. For example, scholars of the global south and scholars of the global north rarely talk to one another. Scholars of Islamic law are rarely in contact with scholars of Christianity or Judaism. And legal scholars are rarely in dialogue with historians and social scientists. As a result, both the theoretical frameworks and the empirical findings with regard to the accommodation of religious family law in modern states remain conspicuously dispersed and detached. We therefore thought that it might be a good and fruitful idea to convene a dedicated conference which would bring together scholars from various disciplines and areas of research to engage with this topic in one place. It seems to us that time is ripe for developing a more general, conceptual theoretical framework with regard to the accommodation of religious laws and especially family laws into modern states. At the very least, time is ripe for initiating an informed, comparative, and interdisciplinary discourse about this topic. This, esteemed guest, is exactly what this conference is all about. By hosting a group of distinguished scholars, all experts in their diverse fields of research in one place, we hope to promote a fruitful comparative discussion of diverse empirical cases analyzed from diverse disciplinary viewpoints. This comparative discussion would hopefully allow us not only to gain new insights into the studied topic, but also to progress toward outlining a broad analytical framework for tackling it. At this point, let me be honest with you and share with you that we struggled quite a lot with the structure of the conference and had a hard time figuring out what would be the best program for it. After much deliberation, we thought that it would be a good idea to combine two rather different objectives. On the one hand, facilitating a highly informed academic discourse of diverse case studies, and on the other hand, allowing for a direct and unmediated encounter between academics studying our topic and practitioners, such as religious judges, who are engaged on a daily basis in the task of accommodating the religious law within the framework set by the state. The outcome of our programmatic decision is a bifurcated conference. We have two very different days. The first day is basically a condensed day of study and conversation, which consists of 3 scholarly academic sessions. The second day, by contrast, is far more experiential in nature. We will visit 3 different religious courts here in Haifa, an ecclesiastical court, a Sharia court, and a rabbinical court. In each of these institutions, a senior judge will meet us and will tell us about his own experience as a religious judge working in a modern state. After these visits to the religious courts, we'll go on to a guided tour that will take us to various religious sites in Haifa and Accommodation. As I said, we hope that this combination of academic discussion and on-the-ground, face-to-face encounter with religious judges will prove interesting and fruitful, and we do hope also enjoyable. This would be a good time to once again thank you all for taking the trouble to come to Haifa from either 5,000 miles or 50 miles away. Without further ado, let us begin then the academic part of the conference. As I'm sure you already seen, we're going to hold 3 sessions today. The first will deal with the accommodation of religious law in Israel. The second will focus on the accommodation of religious law in Middle Eastern countries. And the third will focus on the accommodation of religious law in liberal Western states. Our goal is, of course, to encourage a dialogue and an open discussion, so we kindly ask participants to limit their presentations to no more than 20 minutes, or even less if possible, and leave time for conversation. Moderators, please make sure that all presenters adhere to this time limit. If everyone stays within their time limit, we'll have about 40 minutes or so at the end of each session for the moderator's response, or questions and answers, and for a comparative discussion. Finally, We'll meet for a concluding session at the end of the day, in which we'll try to take the discussion further beyond the empirical cases and to develop some general arguments and comparative insights. We will end the day with a festive dinner at a kosher, mind you, restaurant in a Druze village in Daliat el-Carmel. The dinner will serve as an opportunity to learn about Druze traditions and to enjoy virtuosic traditional performances by Debka dance troupe, the Buka ensemble and an Oud ensemble. Certainly something to look forward at the end of a hard day of mental toil. Finally, and before I cede control of the podium to the capable hands of our first chairperson, Musa Abu Ramadan, let me wish us all a fruitful and enjoyable conference.